dog sight. Tell me been in that living room all white. I'm up all night, season ends while niggas sleeping. Lost so many guys, guess why I'm breathing. We keep it strong as the name live on, like if they was never gone. Mind blown, and neither my ever seen. Hey, welcome back, man. I just wanted to, real quick, I want to address, it's a follow-up of the last video that I made regarding, the baby and Lil Nas X and, all the stuff that's going on with, the cancel culture and, how different things are received and, sponsorship. I wanted to address T.I.'s recent comments. He's made a couple videos. But I'm addressing his recent video talking about how, it feels like the homosexual gay community, LGBTQ, whatever you want to call them, they've been bullying, they've been bullying rappers. They should be able to go on stage and, say what they need to say, and not have to worry about feelings, but get stuff off their chest. Because, number one, that's what music's all about, right? And, he's right, he's right on that part. You should be able to say what you want to say. That's what I said on the last video. Music's always an expression of, everything that comes from the soul. He even brought up, how, white people, I think he said something about white people saying nigga and stuff like that. And, how we allow it, we'll put it in our songs and we can't get mad when they go on and start saying it themselves while repeating our lyrics, right? But at the same time, you can't stop backlash. Now, one thing I do want to address is, it's something that I've always said is, when you create a cancel culture yourself, you got to watch out. That's why I've never been with the whole cancel culture thing, because it can backfire on you. We as black people, you know what I'm saying? And, we're not a monolith, but you know what I'm saying? Speaking in layman's terms, we've dealt with a lot in this country, so it's made, our people as in a general sense, it's made us sensitive to many things. And so, from last year and even before then, we've had a whole cancel culture going on. A white person can't even blink without us wanting to shut down this whole entire operation. Sometimes, sometimes the backlash is justified and sometimes it's not. But no matter how, bad it is, the thing the person said, I'm not going to advocate for some, higher, entity or something like that to shut down or muzzle the person's voice. If anything, I want those people to, voice themselves so I can know who's who out here, right? And so it's the same with anything, but that's where a lot of this is coming from. A lot of movements that black people have done, other groups and other movements and activist movements, they've come through they've come in behind us and they've taken on the same characteristics. But, as, most things, black people tend to take a back seat to everything, while these other movements, they gain strong traction and they have more of a, so to say, they have more power behind them. If you want to talk about, the Jews or, like I said, the LGBT. And when I say Jews, think of, the ADL and all of that, and, things that they label anti-Semitic. Some things can be labeled anti-Semitic, even though, we can get into the true definition of what it means to be Semitic. But we'll just go with the, like I said, layman's terms of what they label what it is. Some things can be, but for the most part, you know, they'll label just alternative information as something that doesn't support their narrative as anti-Semitic. And then when they're invited to a debate or something, you know, they completely shut the person down. Kind of like what you saw with young Pharaoh at the CPAC meeting, at the CPAC conference, something that was supposed to be a whole anti-cancel culture conference, and you ended up canceling somebody because they didn't fit the narrative, of the people who were, funding that whole entire thing. And so this is what I've warned black people, I've warned them over and over again is, you can't be quick to want to pull that whole cancel trigger and want somebody, X'd out, because it could come right back on you. And you see this is what's happening, with the rappers. They can't voice their opinion. They can't voice their displeasure. A lot of us, many of us are displeased with what we see. Whether it's fair or not, you do want to be consistent, but at the same time, we like, we like vagina. We like women. And we don't want to see a bunch of men, on stage, kissing and, butt naked. But at the same time, is it fair? You got to ask that question. Is it fair? So, if we sit up there and allow women to be butt naked and, this and that, and then we get mad when we see, see something gay on stage. Did we set the precedent for all of that? It's just, I'm asking questions. You let me know in the comment section. But it's something I don't, I don't like to see. And like I said, the way that, this is supposed to be a representation of LGBTQ. I don't want to say that, because I don't want to say Lil Nas X represents them. Maybe he's just off doing his own thing, and this is how he wants to represent himself. And we should stop making one person the representation for a whole entire quote unquote group. Because just like black people, gay people aren't a monolith. Gay people aren't a monolith. But yeah, that's just the nature of the beast. You can't advocate for certain things. Can't advocate to muzzle somebody's voice, and then not expect it to come around to you. Can always turn around and come back on you. One thing that we also have to understand is, like I said in the last video, you're not going to stop the sponsorship. You're not going to stop the machine. The machine's going to do what it does. So, with all that being said, if you want to see the person that you want, and you want to see their message, or, you agree with their message and you don't want to see them fall, now, are you going to, take the extra step and make sure you go out of your way to support them, to make sure that they don't fall? Even if it's like on YouTube, sitting a platform, you see YouTube, and it's crazy how YouTube operates, because they sit up there and they shut down people's channels, but they allow, like I said, naked men like Lil Nas X videos, and even naked women, WAP and this and that, and they allow guns and people talking about killing and all type of stuff. They allow all of that. But whatever information, no matter how valid it is, if it doesn't fit their narrative, they'll strike your channel. They'll shut you down. That bullshit. So when you see a person who's trying to put out, a great message, or trying to be truthful and trying to, be real, be something that you're definitely not going to see within the mainstream. When you see somebody who's authentic, are you willing to go the extra mile to make sure that you keep that person propped up? If they decide that they want to go to another outlet, another streaming service or whatever, something alternative to YouTube, are you going to jump to that other site? Are you going to follow them there? And are the people as a whole going to make sure that this person, a lot of times it's about exposure. But when are we going to take things? Sometimes we need to take things into our own hands, whether it's we just go all out in marketing and make sure we're marketing this person so it becomes an organic build. And we'll have to do that and take that into our hands with multiple people to make sure that this person falls, because they're not going to be allowed to do what they need to do on that mainstream level. And that goes for any type of movement. That goes for any movement, whether, I agree with it or not. That goes for any movement. At some point, it gets upon the people. The people have to take the matters into their own hands and, like I said, keep the battery and keep the machine, their own personal machine running. Because if not, you're always going to be at the mercy of these elites out here. And they'll be able to push whatever type of narrative that they want to push. And we'll be talking the same old stuff, you only get this if you do this and that. Well, not if you take your dollars and you put, and you actually reward the person yourself who you believe deserves that type of thing. Stop waiting on the government. Stop waiting on these elites. Stop waiting on the industry to dictate how these movements go. Because if you allow them to captain the ship, if you allow them to be behind the driver's wheel, you can't be mad when you arrive at your destination. That's simple. And you just sitting in the car, just sitting as a passenger. You can't be mad. Get behind the wheel yourself. So, let me know what you think in the comment section. I'm going to get up with y'all later. Peace.